I've been in the podcast industry for a long time, and a lot of folks ask me, especially people who are new to podcasting, how do I make money from podcast ads or podcast sponsorships? That's what I'm going to get into in this video, and I'm going to give you a few different options. So let's just say that you've been recording your podcast for a while. You've been uploading it to a podcast hosting provider like Transistor. That's what the company I founded. And, you've got a bunch of downloads, you've got engaged listeners, and you're thinking now's the time to try to get some sponsors because that's how you make money off podcasts, right? We've all heard podcast ads, pre-roll and post-roll and mid-roll, where, someone will say, this podcast is sponsored by name of mattress company or web hosting company. The challenge is for smaller podcasters, there's not a lot of options. The big name shows, Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend and Joe Rogan, and, they can attract sponsorships because they have millions of listeners per episode. My guess is that your show and most of my shows don't have that many listeners. We're in the thousands of listeners. And so our options are limited. Usually we have to go to a service like this, and they pay rates that look something like this. 30-second ad CPM is $18, or a 60-second ad is $25. And what that means is CPM means cost per thousand listeners or cost per thousand downloads. Let me show you a calculator that puts all of this in perspective. So let's say you have 5,000 monthly downloads for your show, and those are all unique downloads, 5,000 a month, or a better metric is actually 5,000 downloads per episode on average in the first 30 days. That's what a lot of folks will look at. But let's just use 5,000 downloads as the example. If the cost per 1,000 downloads is 25, we do the math, total revenue would be $125, right? Because it's cost per 1,000. Now, the challenge for independent podcasters is that somebody like this service here, because they are matching you with an advertiser, they're going to take a cut. And I believe these folks take 30%. So let's go back to our calculator here, and we're going to go. So they're going to take $37.50. And then if we look at what you'll get $87.50. It's not great money for all of that effort you're putting into your podcast. You're recording great audio, you're editing it, you're uploading it to a hosting provider, you're probably paying for a hosting provider, and you've got it distributed to Spotify and Apple and everything. You're ready. How can you earn money? Well, with Transistor, you could use the advertising options inside to automatically put pre-roll and post-roll audio ads into your episodes. So that part's covered. But a better method of getting sponsors is, if you can, avoid using a service like this and instead reach out to people in your category, in your niche, and sell your own sponsorships, your own ads. There's a few reasons you want to do this. Number one, you'll make more money. You can charge higher rates. As an example, we have a show that we do in the software industry, and it gets about 2,000 downloads or listens per episode on average. And we're able to charge $300 a month for our sponsorships. We do 2 sponsors a month, and it's $300 each, so that's $600 a month. and that's for 4 episodes. So our CPMs are pretty good, and we don't have to hit, the a threshold of 5,000 downloads per episode, which a lot of these services here need. And we're in control. We don't have to share the revenue. The challenge is we have to, of course, go out and get those advertisers ourselves. And here's how you can actually charge them for that. So using a tool like Meeps, Meeps will allow you to do a bunch of things for your podcast. It'll allow you to create a community around your podcast and invite people to Discord chat groups and all these things. But today I want to show you how you can use it to get sponsorships. So we've got best podcast ever. Let's first go into settings, and we're just going to call this best podcast ever and save that. And now I'm going to just quickly update the homepage here. So I have this. We're going to call it best podcast ever. And you can also have a mailing list with Meeps, which can be helpful if you want to be in regular contact with your audience. Join our newsletter. Okay, so now we've got the best podcast ever, and we've got a public homepage here. And if we open this up in an incognito window, we'll see our webpage right here. People can join our newsletter. I would also put links to our podcast on Apple Podcasts and everything like that. But the key part is we want to be able to get sponsors, right? So let's go back to Meeps, and we're going to create some sponsorship plans. Okay, and so we're going to call this a pre-roll ad. It's going to be $300 per month. I have to connect it to Stripe first. Stripe is a way for you to collect revenue. It's a billing platform, and the nice thing about it is, unlike platforms like Patreon that might charge you 10% or for credit card fees, Stripe's fees are a lot lower. So I'm going to go and connect that, and I'll be right back. All right, so now I've connected to Stripe. I'm going to go back to sponsorship plans, edit this one here, and now I can create a payment plan for this. So again, it's a pre-roll ad, and I'm going to say it's $300 a month, like we mentioned before. I can add features to this, so we could say 60 seconds, plays at beginning of episode, and 4 episodes per month. So there we go. Now we have the sponsorship plan. If I go back to the page, the website now, and I refresh, now you can see we have sponsorships. And a sponsor could visit this page, click on pre-roll ad, and sign up to become a sponsor. It's as easy as that. The nice thing is that this will recur monthly as a subscription. And I actually recommend this if you can. If you can get a regular sponsor to just say, I'm going to pay you this amount of money monthly, it's a lot better to do that than be chasing down all sorts of sponsors all the time. It's better to have 1 or 2 sponsors that are always there than having to continually go out and get new ones. You could also just charge a one-time fee, which is a lot of folks will do as well. So you might want to sell, let's say, 8 episodes. So 8 episode package, and you just want to charge one time. This is gonna be $600, and you would get alternating pre-roll and post-roll ads. 60 seconds. And we'll click save. And now if we go back to our sponsorships section. Oh, I forgot to make this public. All right, let's go back to our sponsorship section. Now you can choose as an advertiser which of these packages you wanted. So they could choose this one here, or they could choose this one here. And the benefits of both are listed. So this is going to make it much easier for you as an independent podcaster to offer sponsorships or ad rates. It's also going to constrain you in a nice way instead of, trying to do something fancy and, like I said, have all sorts of, always be trying to get new sponsors. Our advice is to try to get folks to sign up for multi-month contracts. And in the past, I've done this, so they've just signed up for a monthly subscription. They don't have to think about it anymore. They know how much their ad spend is going to be. They know that they're going to be the core sponsor for your show. And it makes it easier for you, and it makes it easier for them. What can you expect in terms of revenue? Like I said, our little show that we had 2,000 to 3,000 downloads per episode, we were making about $600 a month from sponsorships. We were also making money from individual patrons, and I'll show you how you can use Meeps for that in a different video. But this is a really great way to get those sponsors. And once you get them, once you've got confirmation of their payment, you would just reach out to them, say, hey, let me record an ad. You would record an ad, and then you would go in and you would add it to your episodes, either just live as you record, or if they have dynamic ad insertion like Transistor, you could then just upload an MP3 and have it automatically added to all of your episodes, pre-roll or post-roll. So before the episode begins or after the episode is done, you can have it automatically insert the ad for all of that using certain podcast hosting platforms. So hopefully that's helpful for you. If you have questions about podcast ad rates or how you can earn money from your podcast, please leave them in the comments below. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.